Hello everyone and welcome back to another soft spoken Wednesday. Today I am going to share another episode of the series Missing 411. These disappearances are kind of related in some way, and a lot of them are shared in different books written by David Pilates. Now, these are kind of controversial because of his books, but I'm not sharing the content or ideas in his books. I'm sharing the cases that kind of fall into the category of bizarre disappearances. Now, if you want to check out more 411 cases and what they're all about, how people can be found in places where they cannot reach, and it seems like somebody placed them there, I'll have a playlist pop up on the top of the screen right now. Now, excuse my voice. I've been battling my asthma for over a month now. So when I do soft spoken, I kind of lose the last couple of letters, some words. I hope you don't mind, and I know that there's a lot of people out there who enjoy this soft spoken Wednesdays. So let's get started. Today's case is on Bobby Bizup, and I have to say that I do not buy this case. I know that it happened. I feel horrible for the family, but the explanations of the authorities and from where he disappeared, it just don't add up. It does involve the Catholic Church, and I am not going to get into a debate of are they evil or are they abusing kids all over the world, or are they... No, I'm gonna keep it about Bobby. But because it involves the Catholic Church, it is easy for people to come up with some other theories that I like to think that didn't happen. But even if you're part of a big church, even if you are in some kind of a high position, you're still a human being, so it's a possibility. So, it happened at St. Malo Retreat, or Chapel on the Rock, as it's also well known for, or as. This was built in 1936 on land donated by Mr. and Mrs. Mallow. This was founded by Monsignor Joseph Bossetti, and he was inspired to build in that specific spot by the biblical phrase, "Upon this rock I will build my church," which is very, very well known. And again, it kind of laid on a large rock formation just east of the Rocky Mountain National Park. Now, in 1958, the facilities were being used as a boys only camp, and it was led by priests. Now, Bobby Bizup attended the camp that summer. He was the son of Master Sergeant Joseph Bizup. He was mostly deaf, Bobby was, and didn't speak clearly because of it. So he kept to himself a lot. One of Bobby's favorite things to do was fishing. And on August 15th, 1958, he was 10 years old at the time. He was fishing down by Cabin Creek. At around 6 p.m., a counselor went to get him so they could have dinner. Bobby was starving, so he immediately agreed. And they started walking down the hill, back to camp. Bobby following the counselor. Sorry, number one mistake. I don't know. If it was me leading a deaf child back to camp, I would have put him in front, but I guess. And this wasn't the time where maybe the counselor was on his phone, or it's kind of interesting that he chose to go before the kid. But when they reached camp, Bobby was not there. The counselor thought that he was walking behind him, but when he turned around to look for him, he was not there. Over 300 people looked for Bobby for 4 days straight. Over 16 square miles. I mean, this was huge. It was not only a 10-year-old boy, but a 10-year-old boy with limited speech, almost deaf, in the woods. So, friends of the family, people from the Air Force, bloodhounds, divers, they all looked for Bobby. Now, part of the search was to go up Mount Meeker. And the peak is 11,000 feet. And it stretches 4 miles in each direction. And they searched left and right. They took dogs. They did everything they could. Even though it would be really hard for this boy to get to the peak or to the top of this mountain. Nothing was left behind. I mean, they couldn't find clothes or any kind of tips that would indicate the direction that he took. The only thing they did find was his bait box, which, by the way, was nearby a creek. This is where things get a little bit crazy, in my opinion, because the camp director said that Bobby was probably hiding, and he was good at it. Now, I wonder why he was hiding, if camp director thought that. Or who was he hiding from? I mean, I get a 5-year-old hiding, the mall, and the racks, and trying to scare you, but a 10-year-old, almost deaf kid, I don't know. It left me thinking that maybe he was either scared of someone, that maybe he was being punished because he was at the Greek and he wasn't supposed to. And so he decided to hide from his punishment, or... And these things are things that I think, of course, but when the camp director said that Bobby was probably hiding, it left me thinking that maybe he was afraid of something or someone. Now, there were a couple of people that mentioned seeing him walking the streets in Estes Park, which is 15 miles north from camp. Then somebody in the same place said that they saw this boy or somebody that looked like him at a hardware store, also in that same town. They described the boy as somebody who didn't answer any of their questions and that finally ran away from them. But it was never confirmed that this was Bobby. The next summer, on June 6, 1959, while other camp was going on, his body was found by the original counselor who was picking him up and kind of the head of the investigation, and 2 other counselors working that summer that came across Bobby's hearing aid, some clothing, and some bones. Later on, it was confirmed it was Bobby's body, and the body was found on Mount Meeker, exactly in the area that was searched several times, left and right. His body was found only 3.5 miles away from where he was last seen. Now, in order to get to this part of, you would have to have climbed 2,500 feet in elevation again. Is it possible? Yes. But the terrain was very, very hard to get to. And at the time, they didn't believe that he was able to do that. Now, they wonder, how can a 10-year-old, almost deaf and not social, who happened to be starving, would go and climb this mountain? The other thing is that it's very interesting, the state of his body. Official sources don't really understand at all. Even if his body was being eaten by animals for almost a year, the things and the way that they found the bones and remains was in such an advanced stage of decomposition that it didn't match for the environment that he was at. Now, Pope John Paul II visited this trail from where Bobby went missing in 1993. Kind of a memorial thing by the church, but this was never solved. Now, there are a bunch of different theories that involved the paranormal, aliens, Bigfoot, you name it. I mean, they've talked about it in this case. But to me, and this is only my personal opinion and not a fact, to me, it doesn't scream, this is weird, it should be part of the 411 cases. Yes, it would have been hard for him to climb 2,500 feet, yet that was part of the area that they searched. So somebody thought that it was possible for him to get to that specific spot that they searched left and right. They even climbed higher. So, yeah, it was not in a particularly easy to get area, but I think that they all had the idea that he could have done it. But it almost seemed like foul play to me. Either something happened on that creek and he was dead and the trail story was made up. Maybe something happened between him and another person, and maybe the kid was freaking out. He was the son of a sergeant, and his body found the way that it was. It probably means that maybe he died somewhere else, and more than likely placed his body or remains at that place that was found a year later. Now, again, these are just theories, not facts, but when the director said that he was probably hiding, I always think that there's always a little truth in every single cover-up or even lie. And maybe he did. Maybe he was hiding. Maybe he was not fishing, or maybe he was fishing or was at some point that day and he got in trouble, and maybe he was hiding from them. And maybe something happened to him. But I don't know if by 6 o'clock it's when everything started to happen. Maybe he left earlier, mad at somebody, and was hiding, and they just didn't want to reveal that he got in trouble. I don't know, it seems more like man-made mistake than anything else. I think that kids that have special needs, or they're deaf or blind or whatever, they get this amazing understanding of things that are not as obvious. And maybe he felt threatened. Maybe he felt he was not safe. Maybe he left days prior to this and he was a victim to the elements. But I think that the sightings in Estes Park, it was somebody probably looking like Bobby. And this is just another tragic case that remains a mystery, and it sucks. It really sucks that this remains a mystery. Because I think that there are a million other possibilities before I started to think that this could have anything to do with the supernatural. I think there's more scenarios where something else could have happened to Bobby. Am I saying that the church is covering it up? Not really. I don't know. I am saying that even the people at the church are people, and they could have made a mistake. Maybe they could have forgotten about the boy somewhere, and maybe he got lost. I'm saying that somewhere there, somebody was lying. And it ended up in a category of cases that have to do with the supernatural, and maybe this unsolved mysteries that really have no answer, even after so many years. What do you think it could have happened to Bobby? Please let me know in the comments down below if you consider other possibilities or things that maybe I didn't mention in this video. Thank you so much for being here today, guys, and I will see you back here on Friday.